Let's go back to the winter of 1975, New York City. It is dangerously cold outside. The wind cuts through your jacket like a knife. Standing on a sidewalk in front of a liquor store is a man. He is 29 years old. He is wearing a coat that is too thin for this weather. His shoes have holes in them, and if you looked closely at his face, you would see the eyes of a man who has completely run out of hope. But he isn't alone. Sitting next to him, shivering on the concrete, is a dog, a large bull mastiff named Butkus. This dog was his best friend. In fact, in that moment, this dog was his only friend. The man had no money. I don't mean low on cash, I mean zero. His bank account was empty, his refrigerator was empty, his wife was pregnant, and they didn't have money to buy milk. The man stood there for hours, crying. He was waiting for a stranger, anyone. He was trying to sell his dog. Can you imagine that level of desperation? He loved that dog more than anything, but he couldn't afford to buy dog food. He thought, if I keep him, he will starve. If I sell him, maybe he will survive. Finally, a stranger walked by. The man offered the dog for $50. The stranger said no. He dropped the price, $40. No. $30. No. Eventually, he sold his best friend for $25. He watched the stranger walk away with his dog. He took the crumpled bills, walked into the store, and bought food for his family. It was the darkest moment of his life. He walked home in tears, feeling like a complete failure. Most people would have broken down. Most people would have quit dreaming right there. But this man, his name was Sylvester Stallone, and he didn't know it yet, but he was about to write the greatest comeback story in Hollywood history. To understand why that moment was so painful, you have to understand where he came from. Stallone was the definition of an underdog from the very first day he was born. During his birth, there were complications, accidentally severed a nerve in his face. This left the lower left side of his face paralyzed. It's the reason he has that signature slurred speech. It's the reason his lip droops. As a child, he was bullied relentlessly. As an adult trying to be an actor, it was a nightmare. Casting agents didn't just reject him, they humiliated him. They said, "You talk funny." They said, "You look scary." They said, "You will never be a leading man. Maybe you can play a thug or a criminal in the background, but a star? Never." By 1975, Stallone had been rejected over 1,500 times. Let that number sink in. 1,500 times he was told no. He was so broke that he stole his wife's jewelry and sold it just to pay rent. That ended badly. At one point, he was homeless. He slept inside the New York Port of Authority bus station for 3 weeks, just sitting on a bench trying to stay warm, watching people go to work while he had nothing. But Stallone had a secret weapon. He realized that if Hollywood wouldn't open the door for him, he would have to build his own door. He started writing. He wrote screenplays, terrible ones at first, but he kept writing. He knew that his only way out was to create a character that only he could play. Then came the night that changed everything. March 24th, 1975. Stallone scraped together enough change to go see a boxing match. It was the legendary Muhammad Ali fighting a complete unknown named Chuck Wepner. Now, nobody expected Wepner to survive. Ali was a god in the ring. Wepner was just a club fighter, a nobody. The odds were totally against him. The crowd was waiting for a quick knockout. But then, the miracle happened. Chuck Wepner didn't fall. He took punch after punch. He was bleeding, he was tired, but he kept moving forward. In the 9th round, he even knocked Muhammad Ali down. The crowd went insane. Wepner didn't win the fight, but he went the distance. He proved that a nobody could stand toe-to-toe with a champion. Stallone sat in the audience, electrified. For the first time in his life, he saw his own internal struggle playing out in that boxing ring. He saw a metaphor for life. He went home that night with a buzzing in his head. He sat down at his small, cheap table. He put a sheet of paper in his typewriter, and he started typing. He typed like a man possessed. He didn't sleep. He barely ate. He poured all his pain, all the rejection, all the anger of selling his dog. He poured it all into this script. In just 3 days, roughly 20 continuous hours of writing, he finished it. He wrote Rocky. But writing it was the easy part. What happened next was a test of character that most of us would fail. Stallone started shopping the script around, and surprisingly, producers loved it. They read it and said, "This is gold. This is an American masterpiece." A studio offered him $125,000 for the script. Now remember his situation. He has a pregnant wife. He has $100 in the bank. He has no dog. $125,000 in 1975 is equivalent to over $700,000 today. It was a fortune. It was freedom. But there was one condition. The studio said, "We want the script, but you cannot play Rocky." They said, "You're an unknown. You have a speech impediment. We want a real star. We want Robert Redford or Burt Reynolds." Stallone looked at them and said, "No." He said, "I am Rocky. If I don't play him, the deal is off." The producers thought he was insane. They said, "Look at you. You're starving. Take the money." They raised the offer, $250,000. Stallone said no. They raised it again, $360,000. Think about this for a second. Truly think about it. You're eating leftovers, you're cold, you have failed for years, and someone puts a suitcase with $360,000 on the table. All you have to do is sign a paper, give them the script, and walk away rich. You could buy a mansion, you could buy 10 dogs, you could never work again. But Stallone knew something profound. He knew that if he sold his dream, he would be rich, but he would be spiritually dead. He later said, "I told my wife that I'd rather bury the script in the backyard and let the worms eat it than sell it without me." He pushed the money back. The studio was baffled, but eventually they blinked. They agreed to let him play Rocky, but they punished him for it. They withdrew the big offer. Instead, they gave him $35,000 for the script and his acting fee combined, and they gave him a tiny budget of just $1 million to make the whole movie. He took the deal. So, he had his movie. He had his dream. But there was one hole in his heart. His dog. As soon as Stallone got that $35,000 check, he didn't go shopping for clothes. He went straight back to that liquor store. He stood on the corner for 3 days, waiting, just hoping. Finally, on the 3rd day, he saw the man walking with Butkus. Stallone ran up to him. He was desperate. He said, "Please, that's my dog. I need him back." The man knew he had leverage now. He said, "No, it's my dog." Stallone offered him $100. The man said no. $500. No. $1,000. No. Stallone didn't care about the cost. He negotiated and negotiated. In the end, He paid the man $15,000 and gave him a small role in the movie, just to get his dog back. And he got him. If you watch the movie Rocky, the dog that runs alongside him, that is Butkus. That is his real dog. The dog that starved with him made it to the big screen with him. The rest, as they say, is history. Rocky was shot in just 28 days. It went on to win the Academy Award for Best Picture, beating absolute giants like Taxi Driver. Sylvester Stallone became one of the most famous men on the planet. But whenever I think about this story, I don't think about the Oscars. I don't think about the fame. I think about the man standing outside the liquor store. I think about the fact that his biggest asset wasn't his muscles or his writing skills. His biggest asset was his belief in himself when the entire world told him he was worth nothing. We all have a Rocky script inside of us. Maybe it's a business you want to start. Maybe it's a passion you've been hiding. And maybe life is offering you a simpler, easier path, a path where you take the safe money and give up on your dream. Stallone teaches us that sometimes being broke is a gift, because when you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. He teaches us that it's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. So, let me ask you, what is the dream you are scared to bet on? Let me know in the comments below. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the resilience of the human spirit. Keep fighting. I'll see you in the next one.